the treatment of women in today's society is fine. It's better than in the past. So
I think that the treatment of women has definitely improved over time. In my mass communication class, we learned about the portrayal of women in advertisements and how they are objectified, but at the same time men are also objectified in advertising. So I think the treatment of women definitely has improved, but I think it's still an issue that needs to be addressed overall by our society.
Well, as a feminist, I am aware that there are some inequalities with the treatment of women versus men versus any other gender that people would identify with. And I know that we have come a long way and that there is yet progress to be made, so I look forward to see where we go with this.
The treatment of women in today's society is definitely a lot better than it has been in recent years, but it still could be a lot better than it is. Women are not up to the same standard as men yet, but we're working towards it, which I think is amazing, but there's still so much more we can do.
I was actually having a conversation with my friend about this today. Her coworker has been sexually harassing her and saying things like, "Oh, you know, you're really sweet, but I'd like you better if you're on your knees." Not an insult, just something I want to happen. I think that's so awful. I think a lot of women are just expected to do whatever men want, and I think it's really awful. I think there's a lot of nice guys out there who are supporting women's rights, but I think that a lot of women don't get treated like they should. I think equality is so important, and I think that's not something that we've achieved yet.
I don't know. Maybe I really can't do this. Well, in our society, like here, in like where we are now, we've definitely progressed in a lot of ways, but like there's still changes that need to happen. And we still have a ways to go, but we can't ignore like the progress that's been made. But then again, like the change that we've been through here, that's still change that needs to be made in other places. So like we give, like here specifically, women have basic human rights, you know, and that's not the case in a lot of places. So we've definitely progressed more than probably most of the world, but there's still things we can do to make it better.
I don't think women are treated that much differently than men.
I definitely think that women have come a long way in the past 100 years, but we still have a long way to go. The society is basically revolved around men, and in subtle ways, everything is like depicted towards a man's view. Even just think about like we're in college getting a bachelor's degree. Bachelor is like a term used for men, and like that is what we use, even though thousands and hundreds of women are going to college every day.
I think that the media in particular portrays women in an objectified manner, where they take their body and allude to the fact that the only good use from it is for sexual purposes, and the only way that a woman can make money is off of her body, and I think that's really fucked up. And I don't know, I think that women in theater, however, which is my field, I've never experienced not feeling like I wasn't on the same playing field, on the same level as another artist. However, I've had experience in politics, and I was definitely deterred away from that because I am a really independent person, and seeing that there was a ceiling as to where I could go, or who I could talk to and how I could talk to them because I was a female, was really discouraging, and I think it's sick. So I think in various parts of the world we have progressed more so than others.
I think women in society today, they're more sexualized than they were before. Of course we have more rights on paper, but in reality we're objectified constantly through social media, and women are taught to think of themselves as objects. So it's really hard on the psyche of young girls to grow up with these images in media of just
better not be in there when I get back. I'm telling you.
Idealized beauty
now. I'm telling you.
And trying to work in personal success with that. I think it's very hard on young women today.
For the treatment of women in today's society, I don't think women are treated terribly. I definitely think we are getting better as it's been in the past. I personally don't feel offended on a daily basis, but there are times when I do feel offended and I feel like people are being sexist towards me. But for the most part, like, it definitely can improve, but it's definitely we're on the right track.
So through sociology class, I've learned that women's pay is less than men's, but I think generally, like in a social situation, we're pretty. Actually, I don't think I want to.
Overall, women's rights are becoming more of an important topic to people. I think that women are starting to treat each other better, and there's more of a camaraderie between women than there used to be, especially in Western societies. And I think that the openness, especially in regards to like sexuality and sexual health for women, is becoming a lot more of an issue, and it's being spoken about a lot more. So those are all really positive things in regards to the treatment of women. But on the other side, I think that there still is a lot of, I guess the right word for it is ambivalent sexism. A lot of people still make sexist comments. A lot of people still base their lives and their choices and their day-to-day decisions on gender roles that have been created for us instead of people deciding who they want to be for themselves.
So women today in society, I think they've become more active in trying to gain rights for themselves, for ourselves, I guess, especially with like Hillary running for president, and especially because like she's won Maryland for the Democrats, which is crazy. What else? I think that there still needs to be like there needs to be increase in the fairness of pay. This is so weird, sorry. Like equal pay, I think that needs to be worked on through the government. I don't know, sexual stuff, like.
So overall, women and men are equal, but a lot of the time people treat us differently, and everyone knows that because there's like double standards. But I do not feel like we are treated. What was the question?
Definite discrepancy between how men and women are treated. Sorry, I really am on the spot here.
It's alright.
But women are objectified. You can tell, like even just walking down the street at night, I'm always looking over my shoulder, nervous, and I feel like men don't really have to worry about that. So.
Women's rights, I think they've gotten a lot better, but I don't think they're where they should be. I think women are still stereotyped a lot, and men can do pretty much whatever they want without getting judged for it, and women, you know, can't sleep with any number of men that they want without being called a slut. So we're getting there, but I don't think we're quite there.
So something that comes to mind is I think it's pretty unfair that even if a woman does the same thing as a man when they're trying to get a job, usually the man ends up getting it, and he usually will end up getting paid more.
I definitely think we could do better. I mean, I guess it's a broad question. It just depends. There are some points where we're definitely moving forward. We're definitely striving. We're definitely doing our best. And then there are other portions where it's just like society could just. It's a very broad question.
Okay, I think the treatment of women in society is kind of linked to our views of masculinity, and it's a hyper-masculinized society. So our views of women are kind of backdropped by our views of men and how they're supposed to behave, and then how women are supposed to behave is kind of juxtaposed to that, when it should really be more like however you want to behave regardless of your gender. So I think women are treated in this society obviously better than in other societies, but I think that there is still this like systemic idea that how women should behave, and that women are treated worse than men, and some women are treated a lot worse than other women, dependent on like race, sexuality, all of that sort of stuff. But I think it's getting better. I think politicians are realizing that. I think companies are realizing that. Equal Opportunities Acts are being instated, although they're being uninstated in some states. So yeah.
Personally, I feel that women in today's society are over-sexualized in the media, and men just always see them as objects and don't really see us as people sometimes. So that's one main thing that I noticed in today's society.
This class called like History 146, and like part of the class like we learn about like the voting rights and like women's right to like higher education, and that made me like think a lot about like how much rights that I have now. Like 50 years ago, like some women didn't have a right to vote and like a right to higher education. And I think I have to be more gratified for the rights that I have.
In today's society, I believe that women are still looked at as below men, like men are still above women in like the job field, how everyone gets paid like wages wise and just various other categories.
Equally today in society.
In some ways they are, but in most ways they're not. Like especially in the workplace, like the huge double standard of like when a woman like asserts, like when she's in the higher power of authority and she like asserts authority, it's very looked down upon. The whole glass ceiling phenomenon. Look that up.
Personally, I don't think in terms of gender. I feel like that's limiting a person's potential. So I don't really think between the spheres of women and men.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. In today's society, I think that women, especially over media, they're kind of seen as like sexual objects almost, and since it's portrayed like that in the media, people kind of take that off of media, sort of. I don't think that we're treated as equal to like other genders as I don't know what else to say.
So I feel like women in today's society are treated better than they were, in the sense of it's becoming more equal, but it's still not as equal. Like there's still wage differences, there's still more men with jobs usually picked over women, there's pregnancy issues, like they usually don't want to hire if she's going to be on leave for maternity. But overall, also, I feel like with like domestic violence, I just did a project on, and a lot of women, African American women, are seen being dominated against and not having a way out. And it's usually just because of like the unequalness, and usually people also with the police officers, there's so many women that won't come forward because they feel like they don't have the power to even say anything. So I feel like in a sense with like being dominated, it's not fair. Racially, like with African American women, it's become a lot better, but there's still obviously things that could be done to improve.
Society always has room to grow with acceptance among all different communities, and I think that, you know, there's always a place for improvement, but we're growing towards a good place.